Good morning, class. My name is Melissa Acosta, and my project is on tyrosine kinase. So, the discovery of tyrosine kinases began in 1911 due to Rosarcoma virus being the first to be recognized as a tumor present in animals. And this animal, well, the first animal that had sarcoma virus was a chicken. And this led to the research of RSV. And in the 1970s, a milestone occurred. It was found that RSV requires SRC gene to be present in order for the tumor to be induced. When SRC is present, this gene causes colorectal cancer. It is the third most frequent cause of cancer-related deaths. More than 100,000 of new diagnoses of colorectal cancer or CRC were made in 2008, and 50,000 deaths were reported that year. It is also the cause of many other cancers like breast cancer, colon cancers, and pancreatic cancers, and other type of cancers not mentioned on this presentation. So here we can see from the colorectal tumor in stage 0 over here, and to compare it with the size in stage 4. The reason why it grows so big is because SRC inhibits growth factors in cells. And on the blue arrow is like showing you that SRC metastasizes. What are the colorectal cancer symptoms? So here we have 2 images, and the white image is kind of graphic, but these are one of the most common symptoms in colorectal cancer. Like the number 1 being abdominal pain, and then change in bowel habits. And I found interesting that sometimes it can leave like blood on the stool, and this type of cancer is common in both men and women, and this risk increases within like age 50 and up. And that's like, it is recommended to eat healthy in order to like prevent cancer to develop. How is the SRC gene inherited, and where is it located? So SRC gene is present in chromosome 20, and it is only developed by mutation. When a normal cell goes into inaccurate expression or gene mutation, this always results in cancer. And then here on the image below, we can see chromosome 20, and then followed by the yellow arrow, we can see that the mutation is present, and that's how SRC gene is inherited. And then how can this type of cancer be treated? There's not that many treatments for SRC, but I found in an article that SRC gene can be treated with TKIs or tyrosine kinase inhibitors, which these compete with ATP binding, which is one of the best ways to treat cancer. But it does not mean that TKIs are able to resist the cancer, which it can be concluded that TKI is not always efficient as a treatment in cancer tumors. The role of SRC in solid tumors. Most of the data supporting SRC's role as a potential oncogene in human cancer are derived from experiments using VSRC proteins or other activated forms of SRC to promote cell transformation, tumor genicity, tumor progression, and metastasis. The SRC family is responsible for cellular responses and signaling, though tyrosine kinase lacks in direct contact with extracellular signaling molecule. And we can credit two researchers, Tony Hunter and Bartholomew Sefton. I don't know if I said his name right, but they came to the conclusion that SRC protein is responsible for its ability to induce abnormal cell proliferation. How are tyrosine kinases activated in a normal cell? So the ligand binds to the receptor, and then after binding in the receptor, both receptors join together, and then the receptors dimerize, and this dimerization causes the tyrosine kinase domain to become activated. And then once the domains become activated, the receptor phosphorylates the opposite tyrosine residue, so here. And then the phosphorylated tyrosine residue activate the intracellular signal proteins. And then after the proteins are activated, they trigger an intracellular signaling pathway, which is over here on the last step. And then the defect in the disease is the overactivation of kinases is strongly associated with carcinogenesis, which deactivates the kinases, and it may or not be a mechanism in cancer. The downregulation involves ligand-induced endocytosis of the kinases, and it degrades lysosomes by switching off initiated cellular signaling pathways. Then a receptor induced a growth factor receptor and other related proteins such as ERB2, ERB3, and ERB4. And that's the end of my presentation. I hope you guys like my presentation. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please ask.